Mr. Chair, I am pleased to be here today to discuss our audit report of the ArriveCan application, which was tabled in the House of Commons. I wish to acknowledge that the lands on which we are gathered are part of the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. Our audit of the ArriveCan application looked at how the Canada Border Services Agency, the Public Health Agency of Canada, and Public Services and Procurement Canada manage the procurement and development of the application, and whether they spent public funds in a way that delivered value for money. I will discuss our findings, but first, I have to say that I am deeply concerned by what this audit didn't find. We didn't find records to accurately show how much was spent on what, who did the work, or how and why contracting decisions were made. And that paper trail should have existed. Overall, this audit shows a glaring disregard for basic management and contracting practices throughout ArriveCan's development and implementation. Si les organisations gouvernementales
Government organizations needed to be flexible and fast in responding to the COVID-19 pandemic, but they still needed to document their decisions and demonstrate the prudent use of public funds. In this audit, we found disappointing failures and omissions everywhere we looked. By piecing together information available, we estimated that ArriveCan cost approximately $59.5 million.
And there's the 60.
There was confusion right from the beginning. From April 2020 to July 2021, we found that the Public Health Agency of Canada and the Canada Border Services Agency did not work together to establish each agency's responsibilities for ArriveCan. In this accountability void, neither organization developed and implemented good project management practices, such as developing objectives and goals, and budgets and cost estimates.
That's a big problem, everybody. So, project management is a term that gets thrown around, and it's very important. Sometimes it can be one of the most costly aspects of a project, but if you have a good project manager or project management team, it can be worth it. It can actually save you money. So what do project managers do? Well, they developed what's called a project plan. What's in a project plan? The project plan is essentially the guide and the list of tasks and the responsibilities by every single person that is assigned to a project. So if you're going to be approaching ArriveCan, what you're going to be doing is identifying who your decision makers are in ArriveCan, who your key stakeholders are, who your technical team is, what your budget is, who's authorized to make that budget, and you're going to meet with all of the people that are going to be working on this project and identifying what are the specific tasks that they are actually having to do on the project. And then what they're going to do is allocate time estimates for each task so they can make sure that everybody is on task. They also make sure they understand what are the dependencies between the tasks, because sometimes task A needs to be done before task B can even start. So they are essentially the traffic cop, but also I would say the security guard and police officer, you know, all the above, because if somebody's not doing their job, it's the project manager's job to actually approach them and say, hey, you're not doing your job. I need my deliverable. Get it to me now. But they're also responsible for the project budget. And they provide reports to whomever they are responsible to in terms of the project sponsor who's accountable for this. And if the project seems to be going over budget, they have to provide reports. And then decisions can be made and conversations can be had. So if there was no project plan, then there's not going to be any project objectives. And if there's no project objectives, then nobody knows if this project was even successful in the first place. So this is just a recipe for disaster, and it's no wonder that was the product that we got.
In our examination of contracting practices, we saw little documentation to support how and why the Canada Border Services Agency initially awarded GC Strategies the ArriveCan contract through a non-competitive process. Only one potential contractor submitted a proposal, and that proposal did not come from GC Strategies.
We found evidence that GC Strategies was involved in the development of requirements that were used when the agency later moved to a competitive process to award a $25 million contract for work on the ArriveCan app.
Okay, I'm sorry I'm stopping so much, but like literally every 60 seconds she says something incredibly important. And it's not surprising. We knew this was going to be an important day, and this is crazy.